Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy here, Jin and Yuki. Today we're going to be doing a Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V episode 77 anime discussion. From now on, our Legendary Duels channel will be doing this. We'll be doing discussions on Arc V as it goes along. I wanted to start this a while ago, back like when the Friendship Cup first started to begin and stuff like that, but there were issues with the camera and stuff, so whatever. But we're starting now, so from this point on, every single week, every time there's a new episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V, I am going to be here discussing it with you guys, sharing with you my thoughts and how the duel progressed or what happened in the show and everything. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a weekly thing. So enjoy it. So today's episode was episode 77. As you can see on the screen here, we got Yuzu versus Sergey. And this duel was pretty interesting because the opponent, Sergey, we finally get to see him duel for the first time. Officially, we saw him duel against Damon from previously, but they didn't show the duel or how he even won or anything. But apparently he didn't really bring on an exciting duel or anything, but he still somehow managed to win according to what the announcer lady said. So I find that kind of interesting, as to how did he win his previous one if he didn't really show any real strength. I don't know how he won, but apparently he did, and that's how they wanted to write this story. But regardless, this duel starts off very simply. Yuzu wants to show off, wants to show everybody in the Friendship Cup that this tournament is wrong, wants to do the same thing as Yuya. She knows that in order for people to listen, she has to win, and she has to defeat Jack as well, just like Yuya needs to figure that out himself. So that's her goal. She's gonna try and defeat Jack Atlas, but she has to get through this guy first, Sergey. And Sergey's a bit of a freak in this one, I'm not gonna lie. To put it simply, this duel was, for me, to be honest, it was rather slow. It wasn't very, the duel in itself wasn't very interesting. Well, not interesting, I should say. It wasn't very exciting. It was an interesting duel. It was unique in terms of the deck and everything that happened in Sergey's character and, everything that he did in the duel. But overall, the duel itself wasn't the most exciting out of the Friendship Cup. I mean, her previous duel with Enjoy Chojo was a lot more exciting for me than this one was. And that had a lot to do with Sergey's deck, his Thorn Prisoner deck, which has to do with, avoiding taking battle damage and negating attacks by paying your own life points, by causing pain upon yourself. So throughout the duel, his Thorn Prisoners, they showed the animation where there was thorns around Sergey's body, like stabbing him, causing him physical pain, and he'd be sweating. And, that's him paying life points and taking on pain to himself, and he seems to be enjoying it. He seems to be that kind of freaky person who just enjoys getting tortured, self-torturing himself and pain and all that. So he's it's kind of disturbing, but it is what it is, and he keeps on doing that. So because of that, the duel was kind of lacking because he didn't really take any damage except for the damage he was paying for himself, and there wasn't much going on. He wasn't doing too much of anything. He wasn't causing any damage to Yuzu. So for me, it personally was not that exciting. But that doesn't mean the duel wasn't cool or interesting or unique. Because of Sergey's personality and everything, we finally got to see who he is and what he does. And how he speaks. I like his voice. His voice is pretty cool. His personality is pretty interesting. He's really kind of calm and stuff in the beginning, and then after a while, he gets kind of crazy. He kind of splits himself, and he's just like, holy shit, he's enjoying the duel now. Once Yuzu makes that little speech about her, about how the Friendship Cup is wrong and all that stuff, and it's wrong to send somebody to the underground who's already hurt, which is implying that she already sees that she's going to win. So once Sergey saw that she was concerned about his wound and didn't want him to be sent, now all of a sudden he was getting excited, and he was like, oh, this is beautiful, he's endured it, he's endured all the pain just for this moment where he sees that the opponent has already feels like they have already won. Not that they're going to win or they're trying to win, but they've already won. So once he's at that moment where he sees an opponent like that, he finds that to be the pinnacle moment where he finds it exciting to destroy the opponent and basically demolish their dreams. And he even said that the previous duel with Damon, I guess he didn't have that. He didn't think he was just going to win right away, or like that. So he wasn't nearly as excited about it. But with this one, with Yuzu, he said that he kind of liked her in a sense because of that, because he could see in her eyes that she knows she's gonna win, and that makes it all the more satisfying to just crush her, and literally that's basically what he does. He crushes her, but we'll get to that. Yuzu's just going off in the beginning of this duel, summoning her melodious monster. She summons her ace, what's her name? I forgot her name, but her ace, the 26 hitter effect monster, and her other melodious. She's attacking, she's not getting anything through. He keeps negating the attacks and bringing out more thorn prisoners and inflicting more damage on himself up until the point where he had like 200 life points and stuff, and she wasn't getting any hits through. But she still thought she was gonna win because he had low life points and he wasn't doing anything. He kept summoning 0 attack point monsters. What are you gonna do? But regardless, Sergei at the very end, he fusion summoned his Synchro and his 2 other Thorn Prisoner monsters to summon a new Thorn Prisoner fusion. And that fusion monster had 0 attack, but his effect is he gains attack points equals to the difference between 2,500 and his current life points. So his life points were, I think, 2,200. No, we're 200. So you subtract that from 25, that's 23, and then it doubles whatever the difference is. So then that became 4,600 attack points. Then it had another ability where you could pay 100 to target one monster your opponent controls. Its attack becomes 100 attack points, and then the fusion gains 100 extra attack points. So it had like 47 by that point. So it just attacked Yuzu's new fusion. She fused her 3 melodious monsters to summon Bloom, Prima, the melodious maestro, whatever, that one, and but that one got destroyed pretty instantly because of that. And it didn't really get too much of its time to shine. It has a decent effect. It gains 300 attack for every fusion material, and then it could attack twice, which is good. It should have had a better effect, in my opinion. I thought it was going to, because it it doesn't really require 3 melodious. It requires 2, but you can fuse with more. So if you build it up, the attack points will add up. So if you get like 8 or 10 or whatever melodious, fuse them all together, it'll get 300. Let's say you fuse with 10 melodious monsters somehow, that's 3,000 extra attack points, to the 19, that's 49. Then it can attack twice and stuff like that. So it can build up to something good. I'm pretty sure they'll make the effect even more threatening, probably, once it hits the TCG or something. But that's besides the point. Her monster gets destroyed, so Yuzu is about to lose the duel, and she tries to pick up an action card, but Sergei stops her. He turns his bike backwards or around or whatever, and then basically rams right into Yuzu's bike, and then she basically goes off flying, and her motorcycle goes off the highway road and crashes straight through a building, and goes straight through the other side also, and you just see this giant hole in the building, and I feel so disgusted, because I'm like, why would you go so far on a little ass, she's 14, she's a little girl. He just literally basically killed her. If it wasn't Yu-Gi-Oh, she would be dead right there. If it wasn't a Yu-Gi-Oh situation, because this is somewhat of a show for kids, so they won't go that far. But even so, Yuzu looked like she basically freaking died there. It was insane. So she's gonna be in a lot of pain. She's gonna be in very bad condition, and I felt very bad. I was like, oh, why would they go so far? I knew she was gonna lose, and I knew she was going to I knew she was gonna lose because of story purposes, so I wasn't even upset. But and I knew she was gonna get hurt. I just didn't think it was gonna be that intense. Like not even Dennis, who dueled for Academia and fought against Krosuke, not even he got hurt that bad. He just fell off his bike backwards and that's it. But no, Yuzu had to get the worst treatment and get slammed through a fucking building. No, shot off through a fucking building, and she looked like she's died. It was smoke. The windows were all cracked, and it was terrible. I don't know why the hell they went that far, but that's besides the point. Uh, so that's how the episode ended. Very sad, very upsetting, but it was a good episode. It was very, it was dramatic. It was interesting, but the duel itself was rather boring and not that exciting. Just because, Sergei's deck was pretty boring. It just didn't do anything. It didn't fight back until the very end. When he fused. So it didn't, like, the whole duel is just him paying off his life points, stalling until he has a little bit of life points, then he fuses, then he goes in for the OTK, but it was boring, Like, I love those back and forth duels where they keep nailing at each other, one person is winning at one point, then the other person's, back and forth. That's an exciting duel, like the duel between Yugo and Sawatari, or basically any other duel of the tournament. Those were more fascinating, but this one was kind of boring. Not that it wasn't interesting, there were a lot of cool things about it, but the duel itself was boring, but the episode was good. So, yeah, that's episode 77. In the very next episode, the preview shows that Yuya is going to be dueling, I think his name is Shinji, Crow's friend, and he has to duel knowing that Yuzu is in this terrible condition, that she's gonna be pretty much messed up, and he's trying to say to Shinji in the preview, like, oh, how can you be kind of heartless in a sense, because he doesn't seem to care that Yuzu's in the hospital and that she's in pain and all that stuff, and Shinji's just like, oh, whatever, she lost anyway, nobody cares about her, people only listen to the winners, and I'm dueling here to change the way the world is, which is kind of ironic, because how are you going to change the way everything is by also being the same way that everyone else is being, by not caring, That doesn't make any sense. It's like, oh, I don't care who loses, but at the same time I'm trying to change that same world. That doesn't even make sense, You would be fighting against it. I don't know, it's just weird the way he said that, like he just doesn't care, she lost, it's not important anymore. But at the same time he's trying to change it so that world doesn't exist. It doesn't make any sense. But that duel's going to be cool. It's going to be a two-parter from what it, I looked a little bit ahead. Spoilers, I'm sorry. But it's going to be a two-parter. I don't know what's going to happen, but, hopefully we'll see some new stuff. Yu's going to have some new cards, so I know that's going to be good. I know the duel's going to be good. The animation looks very good for the next episode, and I'm very excited for it. Can't wait to see what happens, and yeah, so that's the review for you guys, man. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next week for another review. Gotcha!